Hello, hello, and welcome to the Borealis Experience. I'm your host, Aurora, and I'm so grateful to have you here today and that we can spend some time together. Today, I want to talk about mental health and why it is important, so important to me to do this podcast. I had really good feedback so far. And this is only motivating me to do more. And I really hope I can bring you peace and resolution and hope and just good feelings into your life, especially during COVID. COVID has been very, very hard on many people. Alcohol consumption is skyrocketing, domestic violence, depression, loneliness. Addictions in general are going through the roof in Europe as well as in North America. And seeing those numbers just motivates me even more to do what I'm doing here. So thank you so much for supporting me, for listening and sharing and subscribing. It's been an incredible 4 weeks now. So thank you so much for your support. So mental health has been a topic in my life for quite some time now. I would say 5 years. And before that, I only saw my body and my thoughts. I thought my body, it's just my body. As a woman, you're always unhappy with what you have. You want it different. You want it like the woman in the advertisement or in the movies, went through some eating disorders in my teens and recovered from that. Would say it's always been a companion, this eating disorder, and now kind of it's fading out of my life. There's no more shame around eating, and I feel at ease and peace with my body. And then my thoughts, I was a pretty ego-driven woman that went through a lot of pain in her 20s. I was raped when I was 21, and that severely changed my relationship to men in general. And not as someone would think that I was avoiding men and trying to, be all independent or so. No, that was not the case. I was in a couple relationships where, looking back now, I can see that I was not myself. I was fear-driven. I was ego-driven. I was manipulative. And I could only see it now, looking back, and being in it back then was just a huge shit show for my partner and for myself. But I couldn't make sense of it. I couldn't see it. And I decided to leave my home country then and to immigrate to Canada to live with my grandmother on her farm here in the Rocky Mountains, because I needed to find what was going on with myself. And being all by myself out here really, was harsh and hard. And I went through so much depressive phases, so much depression and so much pain and loneliness. But it helped me to finally see what was going wrong with me. And I'm not there yet. I hope you know that I will never stand above anybody else or above you listening. I will stand right next to you because I'm not better off than anybody. I just learned to see and learn a couple things and about myself. And those are the things that I want to share with the world, because it helped me enormously along my way. And I want to help people to find these tools that I found for myself way sooner than I did. It took me over 10 years, and I feel a person could do so much faster than I did. So that's my contribution to this world. And this is why I decided to do this podcast, because I can reach beautiful people all around the world. And listening to a podcast is deeply soothing. You can connect with that person. You can resonate with the content and really let things settle down. And you can listen to the podcast while you're walking, while you're driving, while you're half asleep, or when you wake up in the morning. Of course, the meditations I never recommend to do while you're driving a bicycle or a car or operating machinery. But when I talk like that, you can just do whatever you want in the meantime. So mental health, and especially mental health for men, is so important for me to address, because along my journey, I recognized that I was capable of doing tremendous harm just by living in fear and ego. And what do I mean by that? A woman or a person who's living in her femininity, when hurt, can be so manipulative and passive aggressive, and those two things alone are enough to reflect about yourself, about what I reflected about myself. And what scared me so much, because up until then I was always blaming the other person. I was always thinking, oh my God, the other person is just not my match and is just not there yet and just not ready. But I never looked at the work that I would have to do and that I would have to let go of. And it is so sobering once you know that you were in charge of your luck and your happiness all along. But it's also tremendously empowering, because when you find the right people to talk about, and when you find maybe guides or really good books, then you really know that you're not alone in this, and you don't need to live in sadness and regret, but you can take control over your happiness and make better decisions. And self-love has been a really important thing along my journey, and accepting myself for how I look and how I feel and my past. And in working on that, I was becoming a better person. I was relating to other people in a more healthier way and was able to express myself in a better way. So I believe strongly that if we take good care of ourselves, then we can be better people in our community, in our society. And in being that person, we make society so much stronger. And for ourselves, we make our life so much more enjoyable. So when it comes to men, because I had one episode now for men only, but I feel and I know myself that there will be much more. It is not that I'm not interested in women's mental health. I think to some part you cannot really separate it anyways. But mental health for men is so critical for me to talk about, because I feel there's such a strong stigma around it among men, and I can only change how I behave in society. So I want to give women tools and maybe some insights about men's mental health in order to have better relationships. And it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be friendship or siblings. It can be acquaintances or relationships. But men really are taught to suck things up way more than women. Women are way more open to talk about their pain and encourage each other to talk about their pain. And among men, it is not the case. And I live in Alberta, in Canada, and there has been a phase here ever since I moved here where the suicide among young guys was so high, and it was so scary because I could see why they would do it, but you don't know how to stop it. When you first hear these numbers, you are just scared and you don't know, I don't have influence on that anyways. And I think you have. I think every single person has a deep impact onto another person he or she interacts with. And if we can be more sensitive with each other and more, I love to say, cutting through the bullshit, so more aware of what is going on, then that would be such a beautiful shift to see in our society. I've heard way too many people in my life, and I know I can't take that pain from those lovely people away. I disappointed many people, too many people, maybe it's just 2 or 3 people, but that's 3 too many. And I know why I did it, and it was simply because I was not aware of how much power one person has over the other. And if you become aware of the power you have on others and the duty we have to show up out there and to be authentic, then I find it can only be empowering and good. So this is my mission and my vision here with the Borealis podcast. I will share way more about my journey, and I will share way more tools to help you guide yourself into smoother waters. And I'm very excited to have you on this journey with me. I'm sending all my love out to you. Be gentle on yourself. Bye-bye.